Well, welcome back to Prime Morning. This is News Flash, and well, my name is Zach. So much has happened in the course of yesterday up until this morning. So much has happened, and we're going to get into all of that. Now, top of the agenda, as far as the newspapers are concerned, has to do with the Chief Justice nomination. Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni, who's been nominated for the office of Chief Justice, hoping to retain the office on substantive basis, all right? The president yesterday, just around 4:30 thereabout, statement was released by the spokesperson for the president, in charge of government communication, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, and we're going to bring you excerpts of that statement. My colleague, Kukwa Santi, is still here. He's been following the judicial system in the country very closely. He's been following the activities of the CJ very closely, and also has a very good sense of the profile of the Chief Justice, acting Chief Justice, who's looking to be retained on permanent basis. But let's go through excerpts of the statement that the Government Communications Minister, spokesperson Felix Ofosu-Kwakye actually released, and we have excerpts on your screen. And it reads that President John Dramani Mahama has, in accordance with Article 144, Clause 1 of the 1990 Constitution, forwarded the name of his Lordship, Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni, to the Council of State for consideration as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. And then the statement continues, reading that Justice Paul Bafuboni has, throughout his distinguished judicial career, served with diligence and integrity at the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and currently the Supreme Court. It continues that he has earned the esteem of the bench, the bar, and the wider legal fraternity for his intellect, impartiality, and unwavering commitment to justice. His wealth of experience and long service on the bench render him eminently qualified for the high office of Chief Justice. His Lordship has been serving as acting Chief Justice since 22nd of April 2025. So from here, this statement, he will, of course, been forwarded to the Council of State. Advice will be given, then subsequently to Parliament, where the vetting will take place. 68 years of age, and still the acting Chief Justice looking to be retained. Kweku, in fact, before the statement came out, you put out that you have received, what do you call it, exclusive report that the man was going to be nominated for the office. Yeah.
Yesterday, just around 2 p.m., we got indication that the president, while away here at the United Nations, was still working on naming a substantive Chief Justice because Madam Gertrude Torkonoo has been fired, and she is not currently actually challenging the removal as Chief Justice, although she has filed some processes in court. Now, the president has indeed firmed that decision to name Justice Bafuboni, who is currently the most senior justice on the Supreme Court, and like you said, has been acting as Chief Justice since April this year. The name has been forwarded to the Council of State for advice. That really, the advice is not binding on the president, and so usually whenever the president decides and forwards a name to the Council of State, it's almost like fait accompli, and that person's name is going to be forwarded to Parliament ultimately. And so in the next week or two, we expect that the Council of State will offer the advice to the president. The president will subsequently forward the name to Parliament, and then the vetting will ensue. He's 68, like you said. He will be 69 in December, 26th December. And then next year, 26th December, he goes on retirement. So
if he's at the age of 70?
70. That is in the next 1 year and 2 months. By the time he's confirmed, perhaps even within a year, he'll be Chief Justice. And so next year, the president will be expected to name another Chief Justice.
So if he is confirmed, he is going to be Chief Justice for just 1 year?
Yes, maximum a year. We expect that he will be confirmed around October or early November because of the Parliament's calendar when they will resume for the next meeting. And so when he is confirmed, he just serves for about a month or two plus a year, and then he is going on retirement for a new person to be named. Like you said, he has served quite in the judicial ranks. Of course, he started off as a private lawyer, having been called to the bar in the early 80s. He served as an IRX tax officer, that is the Internal Revenue Service those days. He also served within the Ghana Prison Service. In fact, at one point, he was a prison officer and the head of the legal department of that office.
He's worked at the prison service.
Oh, yes, before. The wife is actually now the head of the prison service. So it would appear that is where they met. They used to serve together as prison officers. And so that is it for him. And then he joined the bar as at the bench as a circuit court judge in 1993, and he has risen through the ranks since then. He has served in several capacities, from Circuit Court in Dwyer Nkwanta to Kumasi, then to High Court, then to the Court of Appeal. He was appointed to the High Court by President Rawlings.
Okay.
He was elevated in 2006 to the Court of Appeal by President Kufuor. And then just before the end of his tenure in 2008, he was elevated to the Supreme Court together with the likes of Justice Doche and Justice Enile.
So he was appointed to the Supreme Court
by President Kufuor, and he has been serving since 2008 up until 2025, when he became the acting Chief Justice, becoming the senior most justice of the Supreme Court. And so this is what some of them in the legal fraternity say it should be the natural line of progression. That is, the most senior or the justice of the Supreme Court should usually be the one that is appointed. We haven't quite seen that in the recent years. When Georgina Theodora Wood was appointed, there were so many seniors. In fact, that led to some senior justice of the Supreme Court resigning in protest of that decision in 2007. But then, when she retired in 2017, the position then went to Madame Sophia Kufu, who at the time was the second senior justice of the Supreme Court. I mean, only junior to Justice William Atuguba. But William Atuguba was also just about to retire. So in 2017, he also retired. And then when Madame Sophia Kufu retired, it went to Justice Enile, who also at the time was not a very senior. Was among the top 3 senior with Justice Jones Doche and the likes, who went to the court at the same time. And now it's going to be Bafuboni. If he gets the nod of Parliament, ultimately, that is what it's going to be. And that usually will not come as a challenge, because if the government is bent on getting Justice Bafuboni as the next Chief Justice, and they have 185 in Parliament, that will not be a very difficult job.
I mean, in terms of, he's going to become the leader of the judicial service. In terms of how the judicial service is likely to look under him, what do you call envisage? Well,
if you look at the line of Chief Justice we've had recently, he is not a very big divergence. They are all very conservative. They are all always very stuck and in terms of how they believe that the legal profession should be. So we don't expect a very huge shift. He's a very conservative person that follows up in the kind of traditions we've also had. Also, he's not going to serve a very long time. If he's approved by the end of the year, he's going to serve maximum a year.
Major changes,
and so we don't expect very major changes. What we expect usually is for him to hold the fort. He's coming at a time that the judiciary is in the public, not for very good reasons, especially following the removal of the then Chief Justice, Madam Gertrude Torkonoo, in what people said was politically motivated and others said it wasn't. And so he's expected to stabilize things, to try and bring back confidence, because a lot more cases are going to go to the Supreme Court. People are going to see, if they are going to see the same thing they used to see in those times they used to call the Supreme Court in Animals FC or something of that sort. So the large expectation usually for Mr. Bafuboni is that he will stabilize things, hold things, before the next Chief Justice will be appointed in 2026. And we expect that person to be relatively younger, to have about 7-8 years in office, so that that person can embark on his own vision. But Bafuboni is his own man, and he will do stuff that he believes are in the interest of the country.
And just finally, though, for the removed Chief Justice, we understand she sent a case to the High Court regarding her status as member of the Supreme Court. We understand the Attorney General has filed a case urging the High Court to take the court to Supreme Court for a proper interpretation to be done on this. Can you just clarify her situation that will be done?
She has been removed as both Chief Justice and a Justice of the Supreme Court. And then she subsequently filed an action for judicial review at the High Court, insisting that the process for removing a Chief Justice is different from that of removing a Justice of the Supreme Court. That in fact the petitions that went to the President, which formed the basis for her removal, were for her removal as Chief Justice. That in fact the recommendation of the committee was that she be removed as Chief Justice. And so she believes that her seat on the Supreme Court as an ordinary justice should stay. And so she's filed that action for judicial review at the High Court. Just yesterday, the Attorney General filed his response in 2 parts. One, disagreeing totally with the Chief Justice and asking that the High Court throws away that action. But also said, because of the nature of the release the Chief Justice is seeking, it raises a matter of constitutional interpretation, whether or not, if you look at Article 146, any person removed as Chief Justice ought to be removed from office also as a Justice of the Supreme Court. And mind you, a Chief Justice is also a Justice of the High Court and Court of Appeal. And so The Attorney General says, well, this is a matter for constitutional interpretation, and so he's asking the High Court to stay proceedings. On the day the case will come up for hearing, the matter should be remitted to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will interpret Article 146, whether or not a removal of a Chief Justice means removal from any other office you so hold, and then the case will be sent back to the High Court for determination on that.
That's Kukua Santi, my colleague, and of course, hopefully we've provided some sufficient education on this very matter. The conversation is going to continue on the discussion segment. My guests are already seated, and we'll be turning to that very shortly. Please stay with me.
Newsflash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Steel, fun papa fee. Newsflash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Steel, fun papa fee.
Welcome back. Still Newsflash here on Prime Morning, and big news from yesterday to this morning has to do with the nomination of Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni as to become substantive Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. That's the latest, and we broke down for you. And it is heavily captured in the newspapers. But not just that, along with other stories. You take a look at the Daily Graphic, for instance, and it says UCC runs to a halt. 70,000 students, 4,000 bear GTech brand. Essentially, GTech is saying UCC does not exist as long as the Vice Chancellor continue to occupy the office. This is a major development, and we'll try and get into that and the concerns that GTech is raising about the institution. Also is ensure national assets to save costs, captured on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Then when you go to the Accra Times also, it's got Lodina Mahama weeps for children and women in war zones. The First Lady, of course, delivered a statement at a side event of the United Nations General Assembly meeting that's underway in New York, and of course, and that is captured here. Then Bagbin enjoins Wala Traditional Council to fight to end drug abuse. Also here. And then you've got Afenyo Markin charging the youth, rise and be future leaders. Then Zaneto stands by market women and drivers over CMB Abuja market land. And then you have the Busa South DC taxing citizens to embrace sanitation and also combat for smuggling. That's the NPA boss charging all stakeholders there. The Inside newspaper has also got Brian Achampon at the NPP flag bearer raise here. He says, I'm ready to serve, unite and lead NPP. Dr. Brian Achampon declares as he completes vetting. Yesterday, vetting for all the NPP flag bearer aspirants was done, and you also saw excerpts of that in our news headlines. Then adopt Nkrumah's vision for development. Kwesi Pratt calls for self-reliance over foreign dependence is also captured, and GoBoard donate 2 million Ghana cedis to Mahama Cares towards public health care delivery. So that's GoBoard still making some donation. Remember that just a week ago they made some donations to the Lands Ministry to fight against Galamsey, and this time around they've made some donation to the Mahama Care program also. Then you've got the publisher, the Ghanaian publisher, which says MPP marches against injustice. Of course, the event that unfolded yesterday. And also, Baumia has real Galamsey plan, unlike NDC, Akosia Menu, making the case over there. And Edu slams Brian over Cocoa Reform Glory. The former Cocoa Board chairman raising concerns about Dr. Brian Achampon taking credit for the reforms in the cocoa sector. So those are some of the stories that have been captured here. And even for the Economy Times, they've got BOG sharp benchmark interest rate cut to lower lending and deposit rates, and pressure mounts on government to act swiftly against Galamsey. So those are the headlines in the newspapers that we've got today. In studio, I've got Richard Suma, he's lead member of the Movement for Change. Awal Mohammed is NPP Communications Team Member, and of course, also with the Dr. Bawumia camp. You want Bawumia to be elected flag bearer of the party again, and he's been working tirelessly to ensure that happens for his candidates. And also, Mr. Theophilus Jemiga, a lawyer and also a member of the NDC Communication Team, is here. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for making time. It's been a very wet Wednesday morning, but you made it here. Oh, wow, good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yesterday, were you at the demonstration?
No, I was in Kumasi, so I was just on my way here.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't make it.
But you followed it, didn't you?
Yeah, I followed it. We're part of those who were doing the publicity. I was both on air and on social media, calling on people to come. But unfortunately, I couldn't because I had to also do some party engagements in Kumasi. So I came last night. Yes.
Wonderful. Richard? Of course, I didn't expect you to be there.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good morning. Good to see you too, and good to see my co-panelists this morning.
Yeah. Wonderful. And Council, good morning. Good to see you again.
Pleasure. Yes, anytime you invite me, I'll be here. Yes, for God and country.
Yeah. Awesome. I just wanted to start from the Chief Justice nomination. Of course, we're just doing the presentation. You are even a lawyer. What's your thoughts on this nomination? You know, he's got 1 year to serve. You know, at least next year he's going to retirement. Do you think the nomination is in order?
Yeah, good morning to your viewers, both traditional and online. And a warm morning to my folks back in Hohoe constituency.
Yeah.
Just a bit of correction. Not that I'm boasting, I'm also an engineer. So
yeah, awesome.
Yes, so
that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yes.
You're doing law, you're doing engineering, combining all this.
In fact,
together.
I'm an engineer in 3 fields.
Talk to me about it.
Mining engineering, water resources engineering, and civil engineering.
You really love learning, don't you?
My parents were teachers.
Wow.
So that's all we do at home.
Wow.
Yes,
I won't be surprised if you are pursuing another course somewhere.
I think I'm tired now. Yes, your question is about the Chief Justice.
Yeah.
In fact, for most lawyers, we expected something like that. It has been a situation where you realize that the most senior person sometimes is not nominated as the Chief Justice. It happened during Justice Pegan's time when Georgina Wood was nominated. It also happened recently when Madam Torkonoo was nominated and served as the Chief Justice. Some are even of the view that the appointment should just follow a natural progression so that we don't have a situation where we are thinking who is the next Chief Justice. And it also gives us the idea that no matter who appoints you to the Supreme Court bench, once you become the senior, you are likely to be the next Chief Justice. It's quite good to follow such a convention. You know, for example, the US, they don't have a written thing that says only 9 justices. Even Joe Biden was being pressurized to appoint 1 or 2 to dilute the so-called conservative, but he resisted it. And that has lasted several years, decades. So I believe that this should be the beginning of a precedent where the senior most takes charge as a Chief Justice. I would love to see something like that.
Instead of keeping it as a precedent, would it not be better maybe to
put it in the Constitution?
Yes,
we have the CRC working now, so those are some of the things the CRC should be considering.
Yeah.
And the CRC has a former Chief Justice, also a part of, the Constitutional Review Committee. So I believe that they will be taking things like that, and people might be making appeals or presentations to them. For the 1 and some change number of months available to him, I think he can do a lot. For me, the legacy he will leave, if he is able to do, is to make the courts modern. Sometimes, yes, you drive from here to, let's say, Ho, wear your white, everything. You can't wear the white the following day, or even the evening. Wear your white, iron everything. Get to Ho and you are told the court is not sitting. A friend recently
you get to the court, then you are told it is not
sitting. Court is not sitting. A friend recently told me he drove all the way from Koforidua to Nkoko, only to be told the court is not sitting.
When you could have easily gotten that information?
Online or something. There should be a dashboard for us to go, log in to check High Court 2, Koforidua, High Court 3, Nkoko, High Court 1, Chebi. Then you find out the court is not sitting. Then you stay at home, assuming this wet morning. You drive all the way and get there, the court is not sitting. Indeed, it's a burden on the lawyer, a burden on the client.
That is done elsewhere, isn't it?
Yes, you log in and quickly you know who is sitting, who is not sitting. Cases that are lined out for the day, you check your case was not in. Even they are doing virtual courts. It's difficult now. Recently I was in the office doing something, a colleague was logged on to the Amasaman court. Then I heard one of my cases being mentioned. And lucky for me, they just said, hey, the party on the other side had not been served, so go and serve. So otherwise, that would have gone ahead and nobody would have known that there was a proceeding. So for me, what he would do and leave a legacy is to modernize the courts. Not only the attendance. We should, now I don't even type on my computer. I talk and my computer types. We should have a system like that. So at the end of the day, you can just apply for record for today and you have it. Now, if you apply for record of proceedings, it can take a week because they will have backlog. They need to bring the book from the judge. They need to type it. The judge will correct what is not there. I mean, no, the world has moved beyond that. So a bit of IT and modernity of the court system. If he's able to do these two within the 1 year, or even lay a solid foundation
for
that to take over, for me, he would have achieved a lot. I don't really expect other things to move so much, but I think these two...
I mean, and I'll come to Suma and Awal briefly on that. And, you know, I was just talking to my colleague Kweku, and he creates the impression that he is a very conservative person. Yeah. You're not going to expect some drastic changes in the judicial service from him. Yeah. But would you want some drastic changes beyond the IT, you know?
Yes, you see, I will understand the conservatism to mean his line of reasoning when it comes to delivery of judgments and thinking through the law, not the modernity we all crave for. I was at a program yesterday, interestingly, and the man preaching says that we should change the way we even do counseling before marriage, because premarital sex is now common. You can't go to counseling and think they are all virgins before you. Even the pastor, who is very old, is thinking that way. So now let's bring that back home. I mean, you have a lot of AI stuff on your machine that within a second you can get all these things. Yeah. Indeed, even court rulings are difficult to find. You need to make application, etc. We should have a situation where judgment is delivered today, and by afternoon, the whole ruling is online. You can download, and you see, you don't have to make an application for a copy, etc. Things like that. So for me,
yes, to everybody.
Yes, for me, the conservatism will be his line of thinking as far as judgment written. And again, if that is the line, I will beg to differ a bit in the sense that you take a ruling from, let's say, Malawi, on a similar case as in Ghana, the ruling is just 4 pages. You take that of Ghana, it's about 28 pages, 56. You have seen a lot of our rulings. They will give all the examples.
What accounts for that?
I mean, they will take it to the left, bring it to, if you had gone to the right, this is what it should have been. If you had gone to the top, this, if you had gone to the bottom, this is what, they bring all that. And when they are giving example of cases that have been decided, they can give about 8. See also in Mahama versus Akufo-Addo. See also in this versus this. See, it's so voluminous that it's not nice reading, except you have the appetite to read. That's why you see that people will misquote, people will rely on things.
But so, I guess all of that is just to let you know that the decision was at least well informed. It wasn't they didn't decide the matter just because maybe like in the case of Abonyedikisi case. But this was a well researched.
I agree, but you could still do that very concise and snappy and we read. Let
me bring Richard in now. Richard, okay. Okay, great. Richard, you can come in now. I mean, there's a lot of political twist to the appointment, a lot of political twist. I mean, in fact, because he's obviously replacing the Gertrude Torkonoo, and we know the politics that surrounds her removal, etc. And some are saying that a lot of things that happened in the Supreme Court when Madame Gertrude went there, made their appeals, all of that. There's some politics in there. You can't avoid it.
Yeah, good morning to your cherished viewers. Let me also start on that same note, and also say a very good morning to all the people of whole Central constituency, my co-panelists, all the entire production team of Joy Prime this morning. And I also want to admonish people that it's a rainy day, so especially drivers, they should be very careful when they are driving because friction is reduced. So sometimes you don't get the good braking efficiency you are looking for, so be mindful when you are driving. So, yes, in Ghana, I can say that even if you are drinking water or eating food, there's politics in it. So politics is everywhere, but I would be a little bit surprised if it has gone any other direction. Because, look, Justice Bafuboni is supposed to be exonerated in all this thing because he never called for any petition. He is just working as a Supreme Court judge. And based on what you yourself have read this morning and spoken about, he has an institutional memory, long-term service. Yeah. He's been there. His integrity is impeccable. His conviction is impeccable. His ability to navigate through stormy waters is also something that they've spoken about eloquently as to some of his qualities. So if you look at all the qualities Justice Bafuboni had, and especially institutional memory and long-term service in the bench, it is always good that you put somebody there who has sufficient knowledge about what has been happening over the years and what can be done to transform the entire judiciary architecture of this country. And like my senior is saying, even in Nigeria, the succession to the bar or to the Chief Justice is based on long-term service in the bar or on the bench of the Supreme Court. But nevertheless, that can also not be a sufficient justification for promotion to become a Chief Justice. Because people have long-term service, but that does not guarantee integrity, morality, conviction, and ability to do things on a scale of balance.
Or even to lead the service.
Yes, because for you to become a leader, you can be a Supreme Court judge, but there are some qualities you will not be taught in the classroom. It's not part of the things you will learn when you are at Ghana Law School. These are things that are inborn, they are imbibed. They have to come naturally as somebody who is a gifted leader or somebody who is gifted enough to have sufficient foresight to be able to appreciate things and understand things and be able to promote things that will be in the ultimate interest of this good country that we are all involved in. But the argument is that yes, long-term service will prevent any form of anarchy. It will prevent any form of hatred for each other. It will prevent any form of, what do I call it, discrepancies, to say it in that way. Because everybody who has served for a long time will expect that when it gets to a certain time, I would be transitioned to become the Chief Justice. Because wherever we are working a public service, especially public service, everybody expects gradual growth through the ranks. So once you are a Supreme Court judge, you know that the longer I serve there, the chances of me becoming a Chief Justice is there. So sometimes
it's the highest office, so it's understandable everybody will have.
Yes, everybody will, and you must prepare yourself towards that in anticipation that one day that opportunity could do what.
And when that comes and it's taken from you,
it's understandable.
But let's talk about what is going to happen. And of course, as you mentioned, Council of State, even if they advise against it, it's not binding on the president. But the very interesting event will be the vetting.
Yeah.
The vetting of the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Nominee. That is going to be very interesting.
Yes.
Particularly from the minority side. We're curious to see how all of it will unfold. What do you anticipate the vetting to be?
No, there's nothing much to think about because it's going to be the same hula baloo from the minority. They will come with various questions that will be thrown at him. Some will be very hard questions. Some may not be questions that will be much related to the issue at hand. But obviously, we all expect a very rigorous process because we want the best for our judiciary. And like I keep saying, the judiciary is supposed to be the neutral arbiter. So, and even in jurisprudence, you understand that the morality of the law is also there.
Yeah.
So we all expect that somebody who is becoming the Chief Justice of this land should have high moral values. So we shouldn't expect anything extraordinary from the vetting. But I believe that with the kind of institutional memory and capacity that Justice Bafuboni has, he should be able to navigate his way through the vetting.
Any of the questions that will come.
Any of the questions that will be put to him, he will be able to navigate through easily. But then to conclude on what my senior said, about the fact that we need to be thinking out of the box. We need to be advancing in a way of delivering justice. Because here, Sometimes there are cases before the court of law, and it takes 2 years, 3 years. You go today, and even if they are going to give you a new date, they give you like 3 months ahead, 2 months ahead, and you just can't fathom what is going on in our judicial service. So we are appealing that whoever is coming to take over, deploy technology, deploy innovative ways of what? Addressing some of these issues that have been given these bureaucracies, that justice delivery has become like a tortoise process.
And just the point you make, because I've read cases and heard stories of people who have been on remand for months, and sometimes years.
Yes,
and you wonder
you have people in Isawam languishing there because supposed adjournment of cases, something that is just like casting stone. You should just be able to distinguish between A and B and pass the judgment. They'll be adjourning, and sometimes you get tired. But don't forget, people have scanty resources, the same resource that they are taking to the court back and forth. You get to a stage and they get tired. And even if you don't...
the lawyer fees too is very expensive.
Yes, and if you don't show up to them,
the bar must prosper.
The bar must prosper. So to be honest with you, legal justice delivery in Ghana is becoming too bureaucratic. It's becoming too bureaucratic.
Right, let me bring Awal in. Awal, let me get your take on this. I've heard some of your party members, and it's been quite some mixed reaction. I was listening to Nana B on Ekosisa yesterday, and he wasn't particularly happy about the move, etc. Of course, all of it is rooted in the removal of the former Chief Justice.
Yeah, thank you so much, and good morning to our cherished viewers, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I think just because, I work with the Dr. Bawumia team, Dr. Bawumia is in the Eastern region this morning and tomorrow. He is spending the 2 days in the Eastern region so that he meets constituency executives and sell his message to them. From there, he will come back to Accra, then the next destination will also be known, because the time is very limited.
Yeah.
We have just about 3 months to go. He cannot be in every single constituency the way he did in 2023. So this time around, he will do a cluster. He will meet 4 or 5 constituencies, just like he did in Ashanti region. He spent 3 days in Ashanti region and also able to cover the entire region. So he's in the Eastern region this morning. Let me pick up for where he left off about the e-justice system. Before we left office, in December, I know that 44 courts, high courts in this country, on the e-justice system. It was sponsored by World Bank. And I think maybe it's the implementation that is lacking now. From what lawyer is telling me, that a court didn't sit in Nkoko and the person had to drive there. And that was the reason the President Akufo-Addo Bawumia government decided to really sought support from World Bank so that we're able to do the e-justice system where you know which court is sitting, which judge is sitting a day before you go there. I know that the high courts are doing that as I speak. I don't know if you can confirm that. But I know that the 44 high courts were on the e-justice system before we left off. So it's a matter of implementation that it should only continue and roll out in all the courts across the country so that it helps. You see, this move, no one is surprised. I don't think even the NDC person is surprised that Bafu Boni has been appointed, because from day one, we said it, that indeed it's just an orchestrated plan by the NDC government to remove the Justice Torkonoo, because when we lost the elections, the first thing that came from the NDC was that the EC and the Chief Justice must go. You remember the first day when she went to the swearing in, a video came, she was just sitting with a straight face. Then they said she was not happy. It was on social media. You had SG Tamakulu and all the top guys within the party on their social media handles saying that the woman is not happy, showing the video that this woman must go. You had the General Secretary of the party sit in this studio. In this studio, I say, I say General Secretary, National Chairman. He sat in this studio and said that the woman must go.
Which are the women?
Chief Justice.
Oh, wow.
You understand? And he said same about the EC. And you had Mustafa Bandi also saying this. So you could tell that it's just from the NDC headquarters that they don't need her over there. So I was not surprised that you had a lot of trump-up charges that have ended as where we are today. You see, Justice Bafu Boni, from day one, I even sat here to say that from all indications after his appointment, he tried to massage the system so that it can favor him because he was an ultimate beneficiary. And I did.
What do you mean by massage the system?
Yes, because you see, the day he was appointed, just a day after he was appointed, he quickly sent a circular around across the country that all appointment of judges should be routed through his office, even though that is the practice. But you see, for you to affirm and say that all appointment of judges on all cases should be routed to your office, you have to do the approval before it happens. It really, because you are just an acting Chief Justice.
Yeah, he has assumed the role as leader of the judicial service. So he's doing his work.
You could tell that he has been whispered in there is some whisper in his ears that you will take over. So he came with that ambition. Again, there was a case that a Vincent Esefua sent to the Supreme Court. Justice Sibu Asiedu and 2 other justices were on that case. The case was not called before the suspension happened, you remember. So then after the suspension, Justice Sibu Asiedu was added as part of the panel with Justice Pwama to check, to find a prima facie case against her. So he reconstituted the panel and added himself as the chairman of that panel. And that case ended 3-2. With Union Kulundi, he and Justice Tanko saying that the suspension was right, whilst Justice Gau and Henrietta Mensah Bonsu also dissented. So you could tell from day one, even in the court.
I think for that case, there was a point in that case when I think an application was made for the CJ to recuse himself.
Exactly. And he said, no, he's not. And it was thrown out. Yeah. In the same court, it was a former Attorney General who went to court and said, you will be the beneficiary. He said it in court that you will be the beneficiary of this because you are the acting Chief Justice. So how do you affirm that indeed the suspension was really a wrong thing? You remember that was the challenge.
But also the argument, as much as I remember, was to the effect that, well, if you are saying that, you are literally impugning my integrity, that I will not act fairly.
That was what
and of course, and there was no way that Paul Bakuboni was going to see to that.
Logically, if you are acting here and you're supposed to sit on a case, when someone can sit on that case, it is a matter of logic, not law.
No, when you say I'm going to benefit, you are impugning that. I'm going to, what do you call it, do things in a way that will not be fair. But my work has been a work of fairness throughout the years I've been on the bench.
You see, someone has been suspended on a panel. A host has been suspended. And you are a potential host. And you have taken over as the host. Now there is a committee that should be set up to be sure that indeed the suspension was right or wrong. Then you are in charge and you go ahead to empanel yourself as the chairman of that committee. This is logic. Whilst other people could do that.
But all those other people, based on the precedents we've seen in the appointment of the Chief Justice, all of those other people could become Chief Justice. All of those other people could benefit.
That is true.
So he was not the only person who could potentially benefit.
You see, we, in court, the former Attorney General argued that you on that panel will not serve the interest of his client. And it was justifiable because at the end of the day, it was 3-2. And the 3-2, he voted for. What the president had done was the right thing. That was why he voted for. And you had 2 justices recused. So you could tell that from day one that he was really prepared to take over. I've heard the arguments that, well, he was appointed by President Kufuor, so maybe his allegiance might be with the NDC, NPP. This is flawed. Because when he was appointed, I was even a member of the NDC. Today, I'm a member of the NPP. People do change, their views change, and so on. We appointed Justice Tanko, but since his appointment, there is no single case against NPP that he has voted for us. But we appointed him. After his appointment, there's no single case that he has been empaneled on the Supreme Court.
Even the unanimous cases.
I'm saying that there's no single case that he has.
You see, unanimous cases.
Those unanimous cases, you didn't have a case. But I'm saying
no. You said there's no single case. You see, let's educate people properly.
I'm coming. You see, you had your time. You have a pen and a paper, so you can write so that you can do the rebuttal. I'm saying that almost all the cases that there are dissent on it, let me just rephrase it. Almost all the cases that there are dissent on it, there is no single case that he has voted for us, but we appointed him. You understand? So it is not cast in stone that because someone appointed someone, so that person has his allegiance.
What is your fear about Justice Paul Bafo-Boni becoming Chief Justice? What is the fear that you have?
My fear is that we have politicized our judiciary, because if the NDC National Chairman, the NDC Deputy General Secretary goes on air and say the woman is not supposed to be there because they feel, there is the cliche that they move around that she was an NPP woman organizer and so on. You are now telling us that the judicial system is partisan. You are telling us that if I have a case in the High Court here, the judge there will know that it is Awal who is coming, and they will have an NDC judge over there. And that is dangerous for our democracy. That's dangerous. It doesn't even give confidence to even investors.
At this point,
if an investor is coming, collaborating with me, he sees that there is no just judicial system.
Is it your suspicion that the acting Chief Justice is partisan? Is that your suspicion?
You see, the ruling government is telling us that they do not need the woman there because they think that she has an allegiance with the government, with the former government. So they are now bringing in someone who pays allegiance to them. And that is dangerous for our democracy. And again, you see, we were here when he, as a lawyer, sat in Akosobo, that NDC Lawyers Forum, and said that people, the NDC lawyers are not on the bench. President Mahama said it over there, that they should prepare themselves to be appointed to be judges. They criticized President Akufo-Addo for replacing judges in this country, not appointing more, but replacing them, that he has packed the judiciary, the Supreme Court, with our people. Now, there was this debate about whether the number of judges at the Supreme Court is enough.
Whether we should expand.
We should expand. The NDC opposed to it and said that no, it is on the high side, about 15, 16 is on the high side. Today, they have appointed 7. Akufo-Addo, the only replacements. Check the entire appointments he did. They were all replacements of judges who had gone on retirement. But they have come and appointed 7. So they are populating the judicial service with NDC, supposed NDC aligned judges. And that is dangerous for our democracy. Because that is the only wing, or if you like it, the only, you have judiciary, you have executive, and you only organ. It is the only organ that is not partisan. Even the days of political instability, you still have judges sitting. But you see, the NDC have a history of attacking judges. You know, the history of the killing of 3 High Court judges, still with the hanging around the neck of the NDC. Now, the same NDC is the first to remove a Supreme Court judge, to replace him with, to replace her with someone they believe that is really aligned to their political party. That is dangerous.
Yeah, let me come to council.
But just quick one on the succession plan, saying that, well, the senior most will have to take over and so on. I think that will not help our cause. The most important thing is that they should check and see whoever is suitable so that the person takes over. Because if you're not careful, you have some judges looking at the appointments that has been happening now. It means at a point in time, judges that have been appointed partisanly who will be leading the judiciary, and that will not help us at all. So the most important thing is that at any point in time, if the government feels that this person, because you see, from all indications, by 2029, there is the highest possibility that we may have to also reinstate Justice Torkonoo.
You're going to reinstate her?
She has to be reinstated.
You're contemplating the idea of reinstating Justice?
Yes, because by then she will still not be up to 70. And we still insist that
because
she was not removed with the due process, and she's still challenging the processes.
I mean, that's as if she's still on the bench of the Supreme Court by that time.
Whether she's on the bench or is not on the bench, because she was removed as the head of the Judiciary, not as a Supreme Court judge.
Well, I think that's very interesting. You're thinking of reinstating Justice Torkonoo when you return to power.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
We will have to.
Let me come to you. You had some concerns and you had jotted a few things down.
Yeah, the sad aspect is for him to be spewing out things, particularly when he's not well informed about the things, particularly in law. It beats my imagination. Look, the station is not only for us to talk, we are to educate as well. The position of the law is that even if natural justice will be compromised, but that person is the one to take the decision, he has to take the decision. Even if you sue the Chief Justice right now in the Supreme Court, and he is the one to empanel, even if the issue is against the Chief Justice, once that is his role, and he is the only one to perform that duty of empaneling, he has to empanel.
I didn't begrudge him of empaneling. I'm saying that empaneling himself.
Please, the very thing you accuse me of, please take that medicine. Okay? Now he is saying that he was able to empanel himself, be part of it, to take that decision. That is his duty. So even if it affects a natural justice, that you cannot be a judge in your own court, once it is his duty, he has to do it.
But did he have other options?
Listen.
Was there an option for him to
the case law had been settled. We have Salah versus Attorney General, Tufor versus Attorney General, GBA versus Attorney General, Chachu versus Attorney General. Chachu even argued that the Chief Justice should be removed. They told him that it is his duty. He is the only one to perform that duty. So he has the duty to empanel.
He has the discretion to do it.
He has the
whether
duty.
to sit on it is up to him.
Yes, he has the duty to choose who will sit on it.
And if he decides that
to
he's going
choose himself, yes, that is his duty.
But he's talking about...
It's not about logic.
It's not about logic.
It's not about logic. It's about law. And the law is settled.
But what about the perception?
It is not about perception. It is about... Look, who else would have done it? Who else would have done it? So tomorrow, if the Chief Justice has nominated today, is supposed to empanel, and I raise an issue, be it right or wrong, about perception, and he moves on. Tomorrow, somebody else raises an issue, be it right or wrong, he moves on. Who is to perform that? Look, the case is settled. That is how we perform law in this country. Don't wake up the sleeping dog. It's settled. He cannot today. I mean, his seniors, including Dami, Godfrey Dami knows about that. That you can't change that. Whether it will affect natural justice once the law says you are the only one to perform that duty. The Constitution says he is the administrative head. He is the one to empanel. And you are telling me that what if it will affect him? We should throw the Constitution away. Is that what you mean? That's not what you mean. Is that what we want? No. So chill. That will not happen. And today he's telling us that, let me go back to he talked about murder of judges. You see, sometimes he indicated to us here that he was an NDC member. So you were part of the group that talk about murder of judges. Today you have switched off.
I was not even born then.
Yes, so let me educate you. So let me educate you. So let me educate him. PNDC is different from NDC. Indeed, a former president of this country who ruled on the ticket of NPP was a member of PNDC. But recently, when he was born, a pregnant judge was pulled from the court in Kumasi.
That's a misdemeanor.
A pregnant judge.
You compare it
was pulled
from...
Sir, with all respect, behave like a kindergarten teacher.
Right, and he'll give me
behave like a kindergarten teacher. Take it coolly, yes, and go there. Now, he's saying that NDC aligned judges, really.
He makes reference to what the president said about to the NDC lawyers.
Yes, he said get on the bench. Indeed. Let me give you examples. When Justice Boedi gave the ruling in Ameu versus Professor Kweku, Justice Boedi was shipped immediately from who? When Nana the Domahini gave judgment in the Afoko case, he was immediately shipped from High Court, Accra. When Justice Anoche Jima gave the ruling in Opuni case, he was immediately shipped to Kumasi. What are you talking about? For the past 8 years, nobody... I mean, look at the Afro Barometer report. Look at all the reports. The confidence in the judiciary has never been as low as within the last 8 years. I am a lawyer, and I am talking about what we know that happened. It is a situation where you are approaching the bench, then you know that this is the law. For the first time in our country's history, somebody files application by 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock on the day that the Supreme Court never sits, they are able to get judgment. And these same people could not even get bail for Abroni. Is that not wonderful? These same people could not. And today, those who have been saying, go to court, today, they are running away from court. Is that not wonderful? My brother, no, let us educate people.
But what do you think the government or even the incoming Chief Justice can do to quell some of these perceptions, to build confidence in the judiciary? Because as much as possible, if we can do that, then we can avoid some of these excesses.
Let me give you an example. When for the MP for one of the MPs who used to be Bafwewa, he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He was on the program with
Mesha South MP.
Mesha South. He was on a program with Paula Domotri when the potential suspension of Torkonoo came in. And what they said that the senior most judge will be the acting Chief Justice. Both of them said that is scary. Even the one they appointed, they said it is scary that the perceived NPP judge is scary to NPP people. That should tell you what they know that we don't know. So one of the things your guy said today, the justice, the one who reports from the court, he said that he's a conservative. He will give us confidence to say that let us do things the way we used to do things. Some of the judgments we've had in the last 8 years, my brother, when you are approaching the bench, you need to know the law must be certain. You need to know this is what you are going to get if you do your argument well.
But what do you think he needs to do? Because clearly you see the posture.
Yes, that is why.
And they have a huge following. And if they have a base that believe that this man is not going to be fair, and there is a partisan coloration to him, that's a problem.
Yes, you see, that is why I'm saying that the person you appointed, you are scared of the person who had always been, who was with some of the finest brains, who has always been so-called MPP. Today, you are scared of the person. One of the things he will do is allocation of cases to judges. It should be by IT. He made a comment about him saying that bring the cases for me to, it is always being done. He is not the first to have done it. He is not the first. Justice Torkonoo was doing the same. He's not the first to have done it. It's just that, hey, he sent a circular to say, I am in charge. And that is correct. He was in charge then. He's still in charge. So one of the things the current Chief Justice, the nominated one, the acting one, need to do to restore confidence is the allocation of cases. We should go the IT way. Somebody presses button, they list all the names, the case goes to you. Not that you know that this particular case will go. Then another thing he needs to end is the situation where Supreme Court judges coming to sit as additional High Court judges. You remember the Opuni case where the Honyenuga was the judge to the extent that they invoked the constitutional provision to give him a further 6 months for him to be able to deliver judgment. You know what that does? Now, if a Supreme Court judge comes to sit as a High Court judge, gives, let's say, a ruling, an interlocutory ruling, and you appeal to the Court of Appeal, the judges there will be asking, who am I? If a Supreme Court...
To the decision of a Supreme Court judge.
Exactly. That will not inure to judge. Those are the sort of things that we need to be talking about. And you did that for 8 years. A lot of them...
Was it wrong?
I just gave you
wrong?
I just gave you a scenario which...
I'm asking whether it was...
Justice,
you're talking law, and I'm saying that by law...
Justice is rooted in confidence. And you want right-thinking members...
The same argument he was making about the CJ recusing himself.
No, I told you that... Listen, I'm telling you that he is the only one to make that decision. That's what the Constitution says.
Himself when you could other people.
No. The Constitution is he is the only one who made that decision about who to empanel.
Yeah. So is it lawful for a Chief Supreme Court Justice to come down and work in the High Court? Is it?
Yes, it's lawful. But what I'm trying to tell you, I gave you the the effect of such a thing. Then now what is going to happen is that, you see, you want right-thinking members of society to go out thinking that decision was good. That decision wasn't that. Now we have so many people qualified. 10 years to become High Court judges. They will be promoted so that the era of an additional Supreme Court judge sitting as an additional High Court judge will be a thing of the past. But let me end by saying that if you go through the Constitution, the Chief Justice is even supposed to be a member of every court. Okay? So the Chief Justice, as you are talking about, can decide to sit in a case, even the Torkonoo case that has been, can decide that I will be the judge in that High Court.
Yeah. That would be a little too much for him.
That won't be too much because that is what that is the law.
It will be too much.
That is what the law.
You are trying to.
The law is not about
the
just.
optics wouldn't be good for him.
Then let's change our viewing.
Anyway, let me bring Richard in. Richard,
let us.
You've also been jotting some things down.
Yeah. You see, let us be very candid with ourselves that we have politicized the judiciary not today.
You even made the point. Even drinking water is politics.
Yeah. We have politicized everything in Ghana. And besides that too, many people now interpret the law based on convenience, not conviction. That is how come that the same issue that is clearly, explicitly stated in the Constitution, processes and procedures, you see other people interpreting it based on their own convenience, no longer conviction. And the law is supposed to be based on clear conviction. You should be convinced about something that this is how it's supposed to be in the ultimate interest of society. But we have truncated it upside down. But then again, there are a lot of precedents. We are in this country. There were instances where perhaps we believe that maybe there are cases before the Supreme Court that even the Chief Justice Torkonoo shouldn't be sitting on these cases. But she's always there. She sits on the cases. And it is the Constitution that allows that to happen. So if today there is a case and I'm the Chief Justice, it is based on conviction. If I'm convinced that this panel, I must be part of it, why not? If the Constitution allows me, I have to follow suit. So I'm only appealing to our people on the other side of the divide, both NDC and NPP, that they should stop politicizing our judiciary. And then again, we are in this country where we were told that if you have a case and the case is more about politics and you are presenting it to the judge, you expect that there will be a lot of fairness, there will be a lot of balance, there will be a lot of equity. But we go to the court and sometimes the justice that is being delivered to us, you will see a lot of biasness in it. But we've been able to accommodate all these things over the years. So today, if the ties are changing and we are taking a new person to lead the judiciary, all we should be pleading for is that let us overhaul the judiciary. Let us transform the judiciary. Let us build a judiciary with an impeccable integrity that we can all have sufficient confidence in the judiciary. But as we speak today, there is no confidence in the judiciary. And then if our brothers from the NPP are saying that, yes, it's a perceived or it's a premeditated action to remove the Justice Torkonoo. Why? Weren't we in this country, when they were in opposition, they were also saying all manner of things against the then electoral commissioner and suggesting that we don't believe in Madam Charlotte Osei, we don't believe that she's fair, we don't believe that she's going to discharge her duties without any sort of biasness. So when they came, they also triggered that same process to remove Madam Charlotte Osei.
But if it was wrong at the time and it was condemned,
you see, the NPP, the only standard is that, you see, when you set a moral standard for measuring people, use the same measurement to measure yourself. The NPP cannot be playing this kind of banter with us. When it suits them, it is good. When it doesn't suit them, it's bad. What kind of logic is that? Because you also gave indication that you didn't believe in Madam Charlotte Osei and you removed her. When people were fighting, why were you removing her? You said, no, the president is supposed to be insulated. He has nothing to do with it. He only received a petition, forwarded it to Council of State. And then the committee was set up. The committee's recommendation is that the lady should be fired. NPP defended that process tooth and nail. So if today the same process of removing a Chief Justice has been triggered and she's been removed, why then cry over it? So we are saying that there should be sufficient fairness, balance of service delivery in the judiciary, because that is what we are lacking. To be honest with you, if any issue happens today as a country, who are supposed to be the neutral arbiters? It is the judiciary. So if you can have a judiciary that we don't have sufficient confidence in them, what are you expecting? There will be chaos in this society that we live in as a country. So we are saying that, they say what is good for the goose is also good for what? The gander. So at the end of the day, we expect sincerity and honesty on the part of NPP. That is all we are saying.
Awal.
My good friend, the lawyer, is not happy Justice Honyanega sits as a high court judge. When the case is not even involved, he doesn't even have any benefit in that case. But he is happy that the Chief Justice sits when he had other options that he could empanel anyone. I never said that he was not the one who is supposed to empanel. I said he is supposed to empanel, even at the lower courts, which I know. I stated it, but I said that in a case that he will be the ultimate beneficiary, I expected him to empanel different judges instead of himself, so that he will not be a beneficiary of it. I mentioned that this is supposed to, for the optics and logic, that indeed he will be the ultimate beneficiary, because if she stays suspended, he will still be the head of the judiciary. And clearly, he will be a beneficiary. Again, he mentioned Justice Bodi. Justice Bodi took that decision, made that ruling, because of his conviction as a former NDC MP for Wasam Mefi East. And that was the reason the court had to overturn his ruling on the Hohoi case. This is trite knowledge, which we all know. Justice Bodi was NDC MP for Wasam Mefi East 3 times before he was appointed as a judge. So in that case, knowing very well that Amiru won the case, he wanted to put injunction on it because he was serving the NDC. And this is just right. That is one. 2 is that my friend is saying that, well, Charlotte Osei, we said same about Charlotte Osei, and she was removed. We did not remove Charlotte Osei because of allowance. This Chief Justice was removed because of an allowance she took. Allowance? How? And you are comparing it with her. Charlotte Osei and Amadou Tanko and Justice Georgina Opoku-Amankwa traded accusations against themselves on corruption, on air. The stories are on Ghana Web. Justice, what's the name? Georgina Opoku-Amankwa claimed that Charlotte Osei had turned herself into the procurement officer and was given procurement instead of her as the finance and admin deputy. Charlotte Osei accused the late Amadou Tanko of taking 5 million cedis from the NDC to do illegal transfers. These were the accusations and everything, and the counter accusations. And that was the reason she was removed. We did not remove her because she took an allowance. The Chief Justice today, Justice Torkonoo, was removed because she took an allowance.
Is that the only basis for a removal?
It is the ultimate basis. there was nothing. Which other things? There was nothing more than she took allowance. Because when you read the petition that they used only one petition. And the one petition was accusing her of sending her daughter and her husband instead of her bodyguard and so on. An allowance that she didn't pay herself. But she was removed because of that. Again, you don't compare the 2 officers.
But even
the third arm of government that I told you, that even in the military junta, they do not suspend the Chief Justice because it will be chaos.
What they did before in Ghana.
But the point is that as the Chief Justice of the country,
yes,
the standards are so high, so high,
yes,
that not even a little spot of misconduct can be tolerated.
So how is that misconduct when she had even retired some of the amounts of money? When she was supposed to retire and she had retired it. So how strange will it be that you will hear that a country had removed their Chief Justice because of an allowance that was paid to her? That is the reason I am telling you that we will have to reinstate her.
When are you going to do that?
2029.
We don't have the luxury of saying that.
We will do that.
Nana Akufo-Addo said he was not going to hand over power to Mahama. Didn't he say it?
He didn't say that.
He said it.
He didn't say that.
He said it.
He didn't say that.
Correct him. Supreme Court Justice VCR Crab was suspended and removed under military rule.
Which military rule?
Under Akufo-Addo.
I said even in military rule, they leave the judges. That is what I meant.
Yeah, but he's making the point that
Only once.
that was a suspension.
Only once.
No, I'll give you another.
Only once.
Sarkodie
You
was also
understand?
removed. So forget
Who removed
that.
Sarkodie?
Yeah, so following
Who removed
the
Sarkodie?
military coup that toppled Buzia in 1972, the Supreme Court was suspended.
The Supreme Court was suspended.
Yes, and he
So
was
what
removed.
I'm saying is that
Don't tell us it has never
I said
happened before.
Judges. I mentioned judges. I said judges are not even suspended because even in the military junta, they still sit on cases. That is what I meant as the third organ of the government. Because the two organs.
So is it the case that NPP will not work with the new Chief Justice?
How can we say we can work with him? We still have to work with him. We work with him. But he has only just within 1 year, within the span of the tenure of President Mahama, he will go. You understand? Because by next year, he's supposed to leave because he will retire by next year. So we'll have to work with him. You see, disagreeing doesn't mean that we can't work with him. We'll have to grin and bear because we still have to send cases to court. We still have to send our lawyers to defend and so on. So that will happen.
All right. I want us to go to the protest that was organized by the NPP yesterday. They hit the street yesterday. They were accusing the government of using state institutions to harass, intimidate them, and so on. And of course, they presented petitions to the police service. They did that at the police headquarters. Then they went to the Jubilee House and also presented a petition. Now, it was interesting, just skipping, his name is skipping me, the Chief of Staff or the Office of the Vice President, his name is skipping me.
Bandy?
Sorry?
No, at the Office of the Vice President.
At the Office of the Vice President. It will come to me very shortly. But he made an...
Segbefia,
the former Minister of Health, Segbefia. He made a very interesting comment when Salah Mustafa, the youth organizer, was presenting it to, what do you call it, to him. He said, well, in recent past, you wouldn't have been allowed to present a petition here, but today you're doing that. That was an interesting comment, but it was quite a turnout yesterday. Let's see if we can bring you just a bit of what unfolded yesterday, then I'll get the thoughts of my guests on this very subject.
Including the alleged detention of a constituency women organizer without court process.
He went in the company of a friend called Yaira, our North Tongue women organizer. Upon arrival, she, the person who went to accompany a friend, whom the police had invited, was now told she was also under arrest, and she was taken into custody as well. Your Excellency, recently, 2 young ladies were arrested all the way in Shayasu in Kumasi, Ashanti region, on a Friday and brought to Accra without any information to their parents or anybody. The MP of the area was told, and the MP combed all the police stations in Accra here and didn't find them. They simply would not mention where they had kept these young ladies, 24 years and 26. This is so gross, so wrong. We cannot treat the very young people, the budding, teeming youth of our country in such a disgusting manner.
I am happy today to be actually standing in front of the Flagstaff House to receive your petition at the Flagstaff House, which in recent times would not have been possible. But today, you are able to come here and deliver the petition. And I can assure you that to be given the necessary attention or the appropriate attention that it requires.
Organizers of the demonstration say they remain unsatisfied despite government's response to their petition, insisting they will not back down until all arrests and detentions of their members are stopped.
Yeah, so that was what unfolded yesterday. Quite hundreds of people turned out. It was a very orderly demonstration. In excess of 200 police personnel were there. And I mean, thumbs out to the police, really good coordination. And in fact, I was there. It was no clash whatsoever with the police or anybody. It was just a seamless protest that took place. Let me come to Awal, and then I'll come to Richard and Council. You can also have the take there. I mean, and I was asking most of the people who were there, and Nabi was there, Honorable Abinawase was there, and the question I was asking them, the things you're saying that government is using state institution to harass you, etc. Government is saying, it's the law. And if nobody's above the law, and if the law has to be enforced in this country, that's exactly what is happening.
Okay. So before I go there, let me react to what Alex Xavier said. He did not really paint the right picture. What he said was untrue. That was the first time in recent past that a political party had to send a petition to the presidency. You remember he said that yesterday, right?
I'm sure he was referring to what happened to the Fix the Country demonstration.
Yeah, he said at this point in time, you played it right now, that he said at this point in time, our democracy has grown that you can present a petition to the presidency.
I know the presidency has received a petition from
yes,
the
yes,
NDC
yes, because on July 6, 2021, Opariado, the youth led the youth wing of the NDC to present a petition with Asiedu Nketia and so on, to present a petition to the Jubilee House. And it was taken by Deputy Chief of Staff, the other Deputy Chief of Staff, Aduanwa Mensah. He took that petition. So it is not true that indeed this is the first time they are doing it. The other one that they were prevented from presenting the petition has to do with the fact that they named that house Jolobi House. You want to present a petition to a Jolobi House? You remember? That was even the demonstration, the title of the demonstration. And that was why they were prevented from doing that. I don't think that will bastardize that house and will want to also present a petition and they will accept that petition from us. So it is not really true. Again, they're saying that is the law, right?
Yeah.
So the law is high-handed on NPP people, but soft on NDC people.
Which NDC people has it been soft on?
So, Azoka, we heard that he was arrested for making comments that if he had met the minority leader, he will trigger a by-election in his constituency. We petitioned for him to be arrested. He was not arrested until the day Abronye was handed 2 weeks, the 1 week remand. Then we heard in the media that he has been arrested in Koforidua and has been granted bail on the same day.
Yeah, the police mentioned it. It was a statement from the police.
Yes, a statement from the police. But meanwhile, he was in Tamale at that time. He was sitting in Tamale in his base. The video came. He was not arrested. And because we expect to see how it happened with Abronye, with Okatachie, with Yaira Abiu, with Fanti Comedy, where after the arrest, they took their pictures and posted on their Facebook page with handcuffs. Which of the NDC people, including those who assaulted people at the Bekula North, were seen on handcuffs? Those who even assaulted people, 8 people that they said they had run up. They said they had assaulted the people. We all saw the video. They told us that they had arrested them, but we did not see their pictures on their Facebook page. We didn't see the pictures. They told us that they had sent them to court. There was no single journalist in court that day. It was still the police who told us they had sent them to court and they had been fined 6,000 cedis. That was all we heard. We didn't see their pictures. Those who were beaten did not have opportunity to even identify whether they were the ones who beat them. And this is what is happening in this country. Someone sits on Facebook and writes something. He is hauled like a criminal. They put handcuffs on him, snap a picture of him, send it, give it to NDC foot soldiers to publish. Before they come and publish his own with his picture on their page with the face covered. How did the NDC communicators got Sir Obama's pictures without covered before the police had to come and do it? So if we tell you that you are using high-handedness in handling our people, then your people, we are right, because as we speak right now, the Abuakwa North communication officer who mentioned that if he had met Nana B and Anodompre, he would have killed them, has not been arrested. We have not seen the arrest.
Wait, the police in a statement say they arrested these individuals. In a statement, they say they sent them to court. The court has fined them. And you still don't believe that that took place? As
a journalist, are you not surprised that when they arrested Abronye, when they arrested Yaira Abiu, when they arrested Fanti Comedy, when they arrested the other guys, they arrested them. After the arrest, the statement came with pictures in handcuffs.
I mean, I concede that. I concede that it has been the norm of the police.
But if they arrest any person who is an NDC person or perceived NDC person, his picture do not come. His name, even the other ones, the names didn't even come. They only said we have arrested 8. And later it was, after they said the court had decided for them to pay 6,000, that they even brought the names. We didn't see their pictures to confirm whether they were the ones in the video.
And because of that, you suspect the police are spreading falsehood?
That is the reason we have petitioned them. We're telling them that the way we still insist that the gentleman should be arrested and for us to see that he has been arrested, justice must be seen to be done.
Which in this case you're referring to?
This is the law.
Mr. Azoka?
Azoka, we have to see Azoka being arrested. We have to know the court that they said they are sending Azoka to.
You want to see Azoka in handcuffs? You want to see pictures of Azoka on
But if he made incendiary comments that you admit, and you have not arrested him in handcuffs, Abronye makes incendiary comments, you arrest him in handcuffs, send him to court. That day I was in court. Over 200 police officers were there just to put Abronye in the Black Maria, where hardened criminals are kept for a misdemeanor. So the days of criminal libel law is back. Because the only time we saw this, people speak and they are hauled with handcuffs and put in Black Maria or handled this way was in 1998 when Alhaji Haruna Atta and Kweku Bako were jailed for 30 days for writing something on Delegate. And that was the reason that triggered us to repeal the criminal libel law, that if someone sits on TV and insults you, the person can be sued in a civil suit and not to be hauled as a criminal. And this is what they are doing. And that's the reason we're saying that if really this is the standard process, then apply it to all manner of people. That is what we want.
Let me come to Richard. Richard, yeah. What's going to your mind? This is what the NPP are saying. They are being harassed. The manner in which they are being treated, they compare it to how some NDC officials who have come against the law are being treated. And they are wondering that where is the fairness? Because, I mean, the point they make about, individuals being arrested and pictures of them, although bled, posted on Facebook page of the Ghana Police Service, it's become the norm of the service. It's become the norm of the service. So when they say they are not offenders who we never saw pictures of them, of course, legitimately, they can legitimately raise concerns about that. Likewise, Azoka case. If you look at the trend that the police have been on, and a sudden departure from that trend, do you think they have a case?
They don't have a case. There is no sudden departure from anywhere. And first of all, let me also say good morning to Alan Tremantin this morning. I consider him to be the incoming president that is
2029.
Is he watching?
Yeah.
Let me say hi to him if he's watching.
So all I can say is that, you see, I want to let my people understand that this is not news. And for NPP to go on a demonstration, a country such as Ghana with plethora of challenges, we are going on a demonstration with a team. Yes, are you serious as a people? Yes, intimidation.
Yeah.
Who is intimidating who?
So the government is intimidating them.
NPP's 8 years of being in power, have they not arrested anybody for misdemeanor? Are you telling me they have a clean sheet, 8 years, they haven't arrested anybody for misdemeanor?
They said the manner in which they are
They have not handcuffed anybody for 8 years?
Who?
The thing they are accusing, I'm saying that I am only asking, that haven't you arrested anybody within the 8 years of the Nana Akufo-Addo's government for insulting somebody or attacking somebody? Have they or have they not? Now, again, we are talking about building a society with good moral fibers. So we cannot, for me, the likes of me, I cannot countenance insult. In as much as we say it is a civil issue, we cannot entertain it when we want to grow a country. That will be disciplined enough that we can bequeath to next generation. So for people who are holding high positions like regional chairmen to sit on TV or sit on their social media platform and spew all manner of, rubbish in the name of free speech? Is that what we want to promote as a country? Obviously not. What happened to Ayawaso was Wagam? When they went into that by-election, people were beating left, right, front, center. What happened? Was not that a key constituent of intimidation? Were the people not intimidated at Ayawaso West Wagon election?
A member of parliament was slapped.
A member of parliament was slapped. Didn't we see all these things? Didn't we see a new trend of when they introduced all this kind of a national security guy dressing in khaki and covering their face as if it's an Al-Qaeda group of people? Have we not experimented under the NPP government? So you see, NPP is only trying to be much more relevant. They want to be relevant in the political space. So the thing that they did to others, it pains my heart that when it is done to them, they are quick to complain.
But as you said, if you want to develop the country,
that is what I'm saying. That shouldn't be the norm. That shouldn't be the norm. And then again, if you talk about the fact that selective justice, they do it to theirs and they don't do it to their own, that we can all agree to it that it shouldn't be the case. Okay? The same whip that you are using to whip MPP, use the same whip to whip NDC, because you, the police, you are supposed to be an independent institution. So we shouldn't be seeing any form of biasness being perpetrated by the police service. But then again, I'm still insisting that NPP is not a party with clean hands when it comes to these records of abuse of power.
You have not mentioned a single.
It is not in my duty. I'm not interested in this issue.
On this show.
No. I'm saying that. You see, we are leaving that to the viewers. Are you with me? I'm leaving that to the discretion of the viewers. Richard, I'm not interested in going to raise a case that in 2017.
Accuse them of abuse of power.
You have to show one or two.
I am saying that is not my duty. I'm not interested. But the fact still remains. That is why I just mentioned Ayawaso Wars Wagon to you. That it happened at Ayawaso Wars Wagon. Has anybody been arrested? Has anybody been punished? Has anybody been any way dealt with as far as that incident was concerned? Up to now, it's zero. We swept it under the carpet. So all I'm saying is that NPP, you've equally intimidated people when you had the power. So when it is NDC's time, and they are also using the same discretionary powers given to them as people to form a government, and they are using that to do their work based on their own conviction, why are you crying hue and foul here?
All right, let me bring Council in. Council, you can have the final take.
Yeah, permit me to use the platform to thank my brother, senior lawyer, Edujita Mekulu, for his support for the work of NDC lawyers. I'm particularly, singularly happy and grateful to him. Let me help my brother here. They said you should mention one. Maybe there was a certain Hobson Adoye who was handcuffed. Maybe it happened under John Mahama, the fine, gentle president. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe correct me. I mean, you're watching me as if you've never heard of the situation.
You're making the point.
Bro, tell me, it happened under John Mahama?
No.
Okay. They said they wanted one. I've given one. There was a certain Benjamin Akufo-Addo who went to even help people to distribute food in a police hospital, those who were arrested, taken there. He was arrested for the demonstration he didn't take part in. If this is the way and this MPP will be going, they have a long way. As my brother said, they have a long way to come back. And the idea that they will come 2029 and reinstate Torkonoo, perhaps it might not happen in our lifestyle. It will never happen. If this is the way they are going, I mean, the electorals, he said, a number of issues that we need to discuss as a nation. Look at the demonstration. You were there. You are just being diplomatic and nice. Most of the people interviewed were Kayaye, who never knew why they were demonstrating. You saw
Some were even complaining about the price of tramadol and rent on the internet.
You were there. You were
Is that a group of people? I mean, we should be entertaining this guy.
I watched it here.
To be fair, there were party faithfuls there.
No, I didn't say. I always tell you that, you see, learn to listen. Learn to listen.
Let's listen.
Take that one from this studio today. Learn to listen. Go and read 48 Laws of Power. You have
this is a monologue, so definitely
you see, the thing is, the Kayaye who were in the demonstration didn't even know why they were there to demonstrate. It was interesting. Then, as Richard said, people were there because they were complaining of the price of red, tramadol, and weed. And that...
Did you report that? I watched the video. Did you report that?
No, I mean, to be fair though, for the people I spoke to, I had people who were there unhappy about Galamsey. I had people who were there unhappy about the cost of living. I had NPP people who were also there who raised concerns about these issues that they enumerated. All right, for the people I interacted with, that's what I heard from them.
Then you also saw videos about people who were there about tramadol and weed.
I haven't seen those videos.
The videos are there.
Okay, let's move on. When the persons were convicted of the Ablekumanov situation, a date was given for judgment. Responsible as you are, and you are worried that you haven't seen the people who were convicted, you should have been in court.
No, they didn't state the court.
No, but, and Council, that's the interesting bit.
I was here.
You see, that's the interesting bit. The first statement from the police had to do with the fact that these people has been arrested and given bail.
That was the first.
The second one, the second statement update on that was the effect that they've been arraigned before court and fined 6,000.
No. The second one was that they were convicted and granted bail.
No, the first one.
No. Please. So even on the lawyers' platform, people were asking because you see, bail pending sentence is very rare. One of them was Kwapin Polo, who was granted bail pending the appeal before conviction. Those ones are very rare. So lawyers were even discussing this. How did it happen that the people were convicted?
On their own plea. Because they all, yes.
Bro,
I'm only helping you.
No, I don't need your help. The second one was they were convicted pending sentencing. That was the bail pending sentencing. That was the second one. The third one. Now, if you said you are worried, the date for the sentencing was known. If you are worried about which court, you could deploy people in every court.
Why must that happen? When the police don't really bring statements,
you might deploy, bro. I am quite good at what you are doing. I don't. But it's the decency and the respect for our viewers. That is why let's be like this. Then he also said that the people were not there to identify people who allegedly attacked them. But you just said that they were convicted on their own plea. If you are convicted on your own plea, trial doesn't go on. That ends it. Yes, that ends it. So
for me, let me take some messages.
So all I'm trying to say is that the idea that they are going on Yensro Huna, they've done it before. Anybody who has been in this country for the past 8 years and has survived will likely be able to survive in hell. I'm telling you.
All right, let's take some messages now. Moses from Chiriponi says, good morning. NPP are always noted for walkouts and demonstrations. You don't know when they are in power and opposition. Have they forgotten when Anado, His Excellency, the former president, was interviewed by Western media in one of his trips outside Ghana? When asked about harassment in his administration, he said it was institutions that were working. What has changed now? They should save us from this embarrassment and focus on rebuilding their party. I can assure you that the name of the party will be rebranded again while their character remains the same. Tepa. Teacher Kojo from Tepa says, the Galamsey fight has failed because of the NDC. When Anado tried to stop Galamsey so that we could get clean water to drink, the NDC in opposition opposed it. John Mahama encouraged them to carry on, stating that when he becomes president, he will free all those arrested for Galamsey. At that time, if John Mahama in opposition had supported Anado in the fight, we would have won the battle against Galamsey with a unified mindset, including the media. Greetings to Dr. Baumia, he says. Meshach Asante says, that's a long one, Meshach. Keep it short. So upon all the noise and brouhaha NPP made about their so-called demonstration, only a few people they were able to mobilize to join their demonstration. It is clear indication that NPP, some of the demonstrators were even saying on social media that they were not even aware the reason why they joined the demonstration. According to them, they were invited to come to Kwame Nkrumah Circle for money, not knowing it was rather demonstration. Others were also asking the government to reduce the price of, we don't encourage this drug here, so let's not mention it. And a such party with, but Okay, so they better start preparing for another demonstration before they will be arrested again. Okay, well, I get your point there. Okay, Akonsi Gariba from Tamale. Good morning, and good morning to my brother Awal. Those who are happy today about the nomination of Bafo Boni as the Chief Justice of Ghana should be happy in future if another Chief Justice is sacked for a new Chief Justice to be nominated. This is just a reminder to those who are unprincipled in Ghana, because if it is good today, then it should be good tomorrow. And he says, my regards to Alhaji Baumia. Good morning. Please tell the MPP man at your studio that whether he like it or not, the EC will go. That is why some of us voted for NDC. We are resetting our mother Ghana. Abena from Takoradi. Hey, Abena. Okay. This one says, Alhassan Sese from Zenu Central. The nomination of Justice Bafo Boni as Chief Justice is commendable. And this is what was missing in the era of the Akufo-Addo regime. Kudos to JM. All what Ghanaians need is fair judgment and confidence in our justice delivery system. And I believe Bafo Boni, with his track record, will bring back confidence to the system. The MPP should be the last people to talk about injustice in this country. Wana Fuku was granted bail, but then the government denied him his freedom. MPP never again, he says. And he goes on to give regards. Good morning. Going on demonstration is fundamental right of all citizens in a democratic state. But hiding behind protest to avoid accountability is not acceptable, he says. Well, let me do maybe two more messages and I'll be done. President Mahama's decision to appoint new Chief Justice, indeed a step in the right direction. The judiciary has been reset for the better, and the era of unanimous decisions is giving way to healthy dissenting opinions, just as we used to witness in the past. This marks progress towards a stronger democracy. The next institution that equally deserves such reset is the Electoral Commission. This is why they are saying that if you are just take your time. Okay, patriotic voices, and he goes on. Okay, this one says, good morning to you. What is Awal saying? That Mahama is appointing NDC judges? Wow. By his logic, those that Akufo-Addo replaced, is that not appointment? And can we also conclude that those judges are MPP judges? He asks. Well, this one mentioned my name, so let me read it. Good morning, Zach. Tell Awal to stop talking about his movement from NDC to MPP, because his movement was triggered by... that's quite interesting. Ask the NDC lawyer to explain recuse in law to us. I put it to him that, you put it to him, that Justice Bafo Boni should have recused himself from the committee that determined that prima facie case against Justice Torkonoo. Good morning, please. Mr. Awal is not a... Okay. All right. This is probably the final one. Gasti, the message is no, Papa. It is deeply troubling to witness the elevation of an individual whose hands are not clean and the unjust removal of a colleague. Leadership gained through betrayal is not a triumph, but a stain on the conscience of justice. When personal ambition overrides principle, the very foundation of integrity crumbles. Let it be known, history has a way of remembering, and karma keeps its own records. Why will GTEC punish lecturers and students for nothing? They have no direct involvement. It's totally unfair to UCC. That's the final message. It's a very interesting development in UCC. The Vice Chancellor, GTEC is telling the Vice Chancellor to vacate his office. The Vice Chancellor says he won't go anywhere. GTEC says if he won't go anywhere, then we are revoking the license of UCC. And UCC ceases to exist. And as we speak right now, it is chaos in UCC. Anyway, we need to wrap it up. And I don't know if I should give you 30 seconds. I'm sure you guys have greetings, lots of greetings. Greetings. So, Council, 30 seconds so that we can leave.
Again, I will say a very good morning to my lovely mom who is watching the program.
Your mother is watching?
Yes, she's watching from Hohoi. Sister, good morning. And the team that always helped me with information, particularly Salim and my good brother, Otis 1000. But the UCC one, let's be honest. I mean, it's pure grade. Move on. Let someone also come.
All right. Yeah. Richard, greetings.
Yeah, my greetings is to the entire membership of the Movement for Change. Like I said all the time, that we are transitioning into a fully fledged political party. and that will be happening probably this week. We receive our certificate.
And you still be called Movement for Change?
No, that one, I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. Okay. But I can just give you a snippet that there will be no movement in our name. There will be no movement in our name. We are trying to reposition ourselves. So regards to all your viewers and to everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I think I will only talk about Dr. Bawumia. You know, he's in the Eastern region, as I said. And again, you know, the vetting committee, I was thinking we'll even talk about it. The vetting committee finished its work yesterday. It is possible that someone can even be disqualified. The reason being that you're supposed to pay 3 layers of money. First, the appointment. Second, the filing fee, the nomination form, filing fee. Then the development fee, which is also binding because it's National Council that sets that amount of money. The 4 million, if you don't pay it, you will be taken out. You will not really contest the elections. So I know that we have met all these commitments, and Dr. Bawumia is on the road, and we're upbeat that it will be about 80% endorsement.